Welcome back to SoulBack. This is the R&B podcast. Kyle here, back with Tom and Ed. Guys, Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, players. I am very happy to be back with the crew, and I'm happy that this podcast did not get canceled in my absence. Thank you for not running us into the ground.
Yeah, we took a few weeks off, and I think we're all fired up this time around, right?
Oh, there's enough drama going on in the world of music that got us all heated.
Yeah. Let's start out with something that is kind of controversial, Tom. Ed on Twitter stated that the candy-flavored watermelon or the artificial flavored watermelon tastes better than the actual fruit. Do you agree or disagree?
Ed, you making outrageous statements on Twitter again?
Well, that's every day. But yes, watermelon is trash. The actual watermelon. Actually, I'm not a fan of any melon. Cantaloupe, all that stuff. It tastes like nothing. Like, watermelon. Tell me what the watermelon fruit tastes like. It tastes like water. That's why it's called watermelon. Tastes like nothing.
Listen, Ed, stuff that's good for you doesn't taste good. That's the point of it.
Oh, don't remind me. I'm doing this month-long fast thing, and it sure ain't fun.
Oh, boy.
Healthy
Ed
foods
on a cleanse.
don't taste good.
Oh, not good, guys. Well, I've got a couple of hard-hitting questions for you guys to start this podcast off with.
So, can't wait for this when you're behind the questions.
So, do you guys remember the rapper Vita on Murder, Inc.?
Of course. Tom's favorite female rapper.
Oh, my goodness. Yes.
Apparently, she's related to Kima of Total. They're siblings. Did you guys know this?
I remember rumors of them being related, but I didn't remember them being siblings.
Yeah, I had no idea.
So, all right. Shout outs to Vita. Also,
how is that that's a hard-hitting question? Oh my
yeah, I was like,
no.
Where's the question here?
No. The hard-hitting question is, because I saw it on Ed's Cypher, somebody asked, of the people in this cipher, who do you think is on an artist's payroll? Now, Tom, I know you're Van Just's manager, but who do you think is on Ed's? Who do you think pays Ed to stand for them?
Oh, let's see. Honestly, I don't think Ed stands for anyone really, except for aside from Keith Sweat, who, when Ed interviewed Keith Sweat, I could tell he wasn't on the payroll based on the way he treated Ed. No offense to Keith.
God.
But
well, that's real.
The only other person I can think of is Mayor Hawthorne from when he made Ed put those songs in our countdown like 5 years ago.
Wow.
That was it.
Wow.
Mayor Hawthorne. I forgot all about that guy. Shout out to Mayor. I forgot about that.
Wow.
Mayor Hawthorne's payroll. Good Lord.
All right.
Well, we all know that Kyle is getting those leftover Murder Inc. books the way he stands after Ashanti and brings up Vita after all these years.
Yes. All right. Serious hard-hitting question, guys. This is actually another question that the Cypher asked. When it comes to concerts, if you know that this concert is only going to be standing only, are you going to go or are you going to skip? Ed?
Player, my standing days are long gone, and I will tell you why. I went to a concert with my wife about a year or so ago. It was a hip-hop show. I won't name the artist, but we went to the show. I was very excited to see said artist. However, there were about 17 opening acts with like 20 minutes between each opening act. The artist we wanted to see came on like 5 hours later. There was like copious amounts of the sticky icky being smoked around. Some guy smoked so much, he passed out and fell on my wife, almost knocked her over.
Oh, my.
My knees are no longer holding up because I got to go to the bathroom. I'm standing up. By the time I see the artist I wanted to see, whose show was good, by the way. He was a great performer. But I was like, I can't do these standing shows. And I've been to a standing show since, and it wasn't that bad. But that one experience was like, no more standing shows, especially for hip-hop artists, especially when I know it's going to run late. I am not old enough.
That was actually an interesting question you asked, Kyle, because we got some great responses. First of all, as press members, they don't ever give us a seat. So I've been through hours-long shows just standing from the time the doors open till the end of the show hours later. It's not much fun, even as someone in their 30s. But, man, people were pretty honest, and I never realized. It was a bit of an eye-opener. People, and this is no offense, this is just real life. People saying, I'm overweight, I have knee problems, I have back problems, I have disabilities. Like, I never realized, because I don't usually think about it, but, like, that keeps a lot of people away from going to these shows. That's crazy.
Yeah.
It certainly
Actually,
does.
Someone wrote, I'm 36, overweight, and hell yeah, I'll still stand at these shows. You gotta get it.
There you go.
I mean, props. I'm not overweight, but y'all know I just hit 40, and my knees know they're 40. So after I'm standing like 45 minutes, I start feeling it. No matter how great, and I've seen some great standing shows. I remember seeing Life Jennings. This was years and years ago, and it was just a standing show. It was literally him just like in the middle of the floor with a stool, just like playing his guitar. And one of my favorite shows ever. So it can work, but player, I can't do it like I used to.
Now the key, guys, I figured out the key after all these years of covering these shows. You got to find a pole somewhere in the building and just lean on that thing all night. Hold it up.
Yep. That's a veteran move. I've done that. Go to the pole.
You guys need to do better. You guys gotta, you gotta get back to your early 20s when you can just stand for hours and not complain.
Oh, says the young man. Your day is coming, player.
Yes, it is. So a couple more hard-hitting questions for you guys now. Are we forgiving Chrisette Michele yet, Ed?
Oh, God. No, Chrisette Michele. Let me speak on Chrisette Michele for a minute.
It's a new decade,
and for you wokes,
so I think,
for
Ed,
you wokes and y'all that's mad, listen, I will keep it real no matter the decade. And if you're mad, you can go to E.T. Bowser on Twitter to yell at me there. I was never that upset with Keyshia Cole. Chrisette Michele. I mean, I was disappointed. I didn't like the choice that she made. But to be like, I am going to cancel her. I am no longer going to support her music. That's so stupid. And to be fair, a lot of these people who were canceling her, they weren't listening to her music anyway. They weren't fans. They were just random Twitter dummies. So no, I think that get over the whole cancellation thing. The bigger issue is, unfortunately, and as a bigger fan of hers as I am, as you all know, I just talked about how her album Better was one of the most underrated albums of the past decade. But it's been a long time since 2013. And it's been a long time since we got a quality project. And a lot of people will say, oh, she hasn't put out anything in years. Yes, she has. You didn't hear about it because it wasn't too good. So the bigger sin is that we haven't gotten anything good as opposed to whose stage she performed on. But that's just me.
I remember after that whole situation went down and we tried featuring her newer music, we got a lot of pushback and people were actually upset we would still support her. It seems like it's faded. I think people even forgot what they were mad at her for. But I will say, I've seen her fan base dwindle big time. I mean, to the point where she doesn't really... I mean, she was one of the bigger names. But not only that, but she hasn't really released great music over the years, and that's kind of hurt her too. So the combination of those two things have really hurt her, in my opinion, from what I've seen.
And you got to also remember, along with the Trump stuff, there was other bad press that was going on with, like, the thing that was going on. What was it? Was she had either had a child or lost a child? Yeah, the fetus picture. It was just a lot of ill-advised things that went on after that. So I wouldn't just say that was the reason she's had these issues, but it's one of the things that have compounded it. But as I said on Twitter, you are always a hit away from redemption. I don't care who you beat. I don't care who you shoot. I don't care whose daughter you stole and put in a dungeon. If you give somebody a hit, everybody forgives you. So she's just a hit away.
Can I ask you this, Kyle? Can Chrisette Michele in 2020 even have another hit?
I don't think so. I think...
I mean, what was her last radio single?
A Couple of Forever, wasn't it? It was a while
I mean,
ago.
that was... had to have something since then. I would think.
2013. No, that was it.
Maybe. I don't...
That
I
was
think
it,
was
2013.
The album after, but...
Yeah, I guess you're right. Gee.
Yeah, I think her fan base has diminished greatly since then, and I don't think there's an interest for her music, because the next question I was going to ask you guys, is she on the same level as a Jasmine Sullivan when it comes to, you know, respect level in R&B? Because people love Jasmine. I don't know if Chrisette gets that same respect.
No, she doesn't. And unfortunately, I don't know if... It's kind of hard to have this conversation because at Chrisette's peak, the industry was so different than it is now. And even though it wasn't that long ago, things have changed so much over the past decade. And I don't know that she's ever had the groundswell of support that Jasmine had. And a lot of Jasmine's support is she's an underdog that fans feel like has been... They know that she's talented and they feel like, hey, y'all have not supported this woman like you should have, so we're going to be rabidly pushing her. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm one of those. She's one of the best we got. I don't know if Chrisette has ever had that rabid fan base behind her.
Yeah, I'll say this, though, man. I think you're a big fan, Kyle, and I actually think she's a really talented artist and has put out some great music and has almost become underrated because of everything that's gone on. Yep. But, man, Motown really dropped the ball with her album Better, which we thought was probably her best one in 2013 because it didn't really get a push. It kind of just faded away. And I think it was one of our favorites that year. And her single was definitely one of our favorites. But I think that was the turning point. Unfortunately for her, it didn't go as well as planned. And then she kind of went indie and faded away. But, man, she could have been in such a higher standing at this point, I feel like. It almost should be held higher.
Yep. I agree. Do we need a couple more hard-hitting questions here? Or do you want? I'll give you guys a couple more here. Mariah Carey, All I Want for Christmas Is You, became the first #1 song for her in the 2010s as well as the 2020s. A big accomplishment no matter how you look at it, but it was also the first artist to ever go from #1 to dropping out of the charts entirely, because I guess the holiday season ended. When you put this all in totality, how do you measure this against some of her other accomplishments throughout her career? Is it at the top? Is it at the bottom? Is it in the middle? Like, where do you guys rank this?
I would say that it's in... I mean, when you get a #1, you can't ever say it's like at the bottom. I think it's an interesting footnote, but really to me it just shows more the power of not only social media, but also the way the charts have changed. Because... there's been so much weirdness with the charts that we've seen in the past decade. This is probably since I was on the last podcast, I released this list of the one-hit wonders of the past decade. And there were so many songs that people were like, oh, you should put this song up there, and you should put that song up there. But when I looked and researched the artists that we thought were one-hit wonders, they have like 5 or 6 platinum singles. I'm like, what on earth is this? The way that the charts have been with streaming and everything else is taken into account, the charts are just like Wild West. So you see stuff that'll be #1 for a week or go platinum overnight and then just go to 137 the next week. It really, to me, shows the power of that song, but also just shows how crazy the charts are. So as far as ranking it with Mariah's accomplishments, I wouldn't put it at the top. I guess it's in the middle. It's just kind of a tale that shows we had some weird times, but also shows that you can be a legend, kind of established artist, and you can still make it to the top of the charts if you got a hit and you got a loyal fan base.
Tom, you and I had some conversations about the success of this record, because it seems like every year it gets bigger and bigger, and this year I know Mariah really had a campaign going, really pushed that song to #1. What are your overall thoughts about the success of this?
It's interesting, actually, because we talked a lot about it. I really think she put money behind it to get it over the, push it to the heights it got to, just because she knew of the stakes that were on the line, which is fine, because there was a lot of actually great songs that came out of the 90s that, Christmas songs where you don't see the artists pushing them like Mariah did. I mean, obviously, you're always going to have these old songs in rotation every holiday. That's just the way it goes. And Mariah is just getting to the point where it's, it is also a staple. But, we had some R&B artists who put out some great songs in the 90s, but you don't see them pushing to promote them like Ed. TLC's Sleigh Ride is an amazing original holiday song to me. I don't see that song doesn't even get played anymore or really supported. Boys to Men and Brian McKnight. Let It Snow, another original great song. They're not doing a campaign to try to push it just because. I mean, it's just a different situation. I guess the Mariah song is more loved. I don't know, but I mean, at the same time, you look at an artist like This Christmas, Donny Hathaway. Song has been covered so many times. He's not even here to promote it, and it still gets played. It's a classic, all-time classic. But you see Mariah, the work she's putting in behind the scenes, which is cool to see. You got to respect it. But, I mean, I don't know. I just think there's some other factors involved, as why that was the one that ended up getting the records it did.
Right. And see, it kind of goes to my point, Tom, because you got Mariah who was like, I am determined to make this happen. She put money behind it. It doesn't just happen by accident. Because you don't see Brian McKnight out here like, look, y'all, we're going to make Let It Snow go to #1. But Mariah's got that fan base. She's got the money. She's got the social media power. So, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that it hit #1. But if it sustained #1, I'd be like, okay, there's something here. But the fact that it went to #1 and immediately fell off the face of the earth, it shows that, what are Mariah's fans called? The Mariah Martians, whatever. Okay, the Lambs. Well, the Lambs did their job. They got it to #1, and then they went back to do whatever Lambs do. So it got there. It fell off. I feel like, as Tom said, it was a calculated thing that they did. They made it happen. She got another #1. Good for her. But it just shows the power of social media, the power of the fan base, the power of throwing some money behind it, and also the wackiness of charts.
I was going to say, Ed, Mariah's biggest accomplishment is not this Christmas song. It's the fact that she made you listen to We Belong Together for like 4 months straight nonstop on the radio.
Oh my gosh. I still have to clean the vomit out of my car, all soaked into my upholstery. I got so sick of that song. Between that and that Sierra song, turned me off of the radio for good.
Jeez. All right. I have some more hard-hitting questions for you guys in a bit, but let's get into the new music really quickly. We might be able to create some discussions on this. Yes? Yep.
Kyle, but before we do that, can I give a quick shout-out?
Yes, you can.
I would like to give out a shout-out to the YouTube commenter AD Jr. Does anyone know who that is?
Oh, boy.
No, I don't know AD Jr. Put me on game.
This piece of trash decided to call out my boy Kyle on his amazing Magoo interview, saying the interviewer was boring and he was a horrible interviewer. But I love the stories that Magoo shared. I just have no time for this type of hatred.
Wait a minute, player. So he said that the interviewer was trash, but he liked the interview. That's like saying, I couldn't stand that man who cooked Thanksgiving dinner, but man, that Thanksgiving dinner was good. You got what you came for, which was fulfillment. So shut up. Yep. The man did his job well if you enjoy the interview.
He went as far to say someone else from that era should have done it. I mean, no one else from the era was trying to do an interview with Magoo. Yes. This guy.
Someone from that era? Everybody. First of all, player. See, now I'm getting hot. Because here, you know how it is. I can go off on my boys, but nobody can go off on my boys but me. So, what in the world? Someone from that era? Most of the people from the era are too busy trying to chase down these Ray Shermerts, or however you say it, these little trap people, because they're trying to stay relevant. How many people from that era do you see looking back at the past saying, we want to find out what's going on with these artists that we love and that we haven't heard from for whatever? That's what, I got soul. That's what Soul and Stereo is here to do. Remind people of the past and not throw them aside to chase the new hotness. While you're over here trying to gas up the Summer Walkers of the game, we're trying to see the people who laid the foundation. So if you enjoy the interview, clearly, listen, I know Magoo well enough to know that he didn't carry that interview by himself. So the interviewer was the person that set the stage. If you like the interview, the interviewer did a good job. Your hating is irrelevant. Thank you for your clip, player.
Well, I'll say this before we get into the new music. My girl actually saw the comment the same time I did on YouTube, and she was like, this doesn't affect you? I'm like, no, we get hate all the time, so it's all good.
We do actually, believe it or not. Off. It's crazy, man. There's broken people out there. They just miserable people. Kyle went through a lot to even try to get that interview. It took some time, and
You know, I know.
Months,
we've been working on that for like months. This was for months. He like pulled a Nivea for a little while and came back.
We'll get into that whole story another day. Let's get into this new music. Alicia Keys. She has a new song written by Ed Sheeran. Tom, isn't this what you want to hear from A Keys?
Well, someone interestingly on our comments said, I want the soulful Alicia back. And I responded and said, when was the last time we heard the soulful Alicia? Over a decade ago. And if you think about it, it's actually true. So we're not getting the Alicia Keys we want back, guys. I don't think so.
No, it's long gone. It's funny that that Kyle prefaced that by saying a song written by Ed Sheeran. Because when I heard the song, it sounded like Ed Sheeran. It sounded like Ed Sheeran put on an Alicia Keys mask and sang the song. Because it sounds exactly like his stuff. Player. I don't understand why Alicia... I'm all here for evolution. I've talked about this a million times. When the stands say, oh, you just don't want to sound like the 90s. No, I don't want someone to sound like the 90s. I want someone to sound like themselves. I don't want Alicia to sound like Ed Sheeran. I don't mind Ed Sheeran. If I want to hear Ed Sheeran, I'll pull up Ed Sheeran. I'm not going to pull up Alicia Keys. I want Alicia to sound like Alicia. Can it evolve? Can it be different? Sure. Can it not sound like a clone of somebody else? That would help. I feel like poor Alicia is just so lost trying to find her sound that she is all over the place. This sounds like some mess that you throw on that you wash dishes to, not something that I'm used to from Alicia. I pass.
Oh, man.
So, guys, the song is called Underdog, and I'm going to say this, and not to bring Usher back into it, but you know how I do. I like to bring my boy back.
I know. Ugh.
You know how for the last decade we've been waiting on Usher to make a comeback because we thought he was capable of doing so, and we thought he had not only the skill, but he also had just the right qualities to make a huge comeback. I think Alicia Keys has no chance at all to make a comeback with her sound. I don't think it's coming back.
I want to disagree, but the reason why I always assumed that Usher had the ability to come back is because you would always hear glimpses of it. Usually when he was on, like, doing a hook for somebody, from some rapper or something. You're like, okay, that's the Usher we know. Why can't we get that Usher back? Instead of getting watered down, fake Future sounding songs. But Alicia is so far gone, she doesn't even sound like the same human being that we heard in 2004 and 5. So, I hate to say never, but you might be onto something. If we hear a Alicia come back and it's incredible, it'll surprise me.
It's crazy when you made me think about her career, and I love Alicia Keys. I was a huge fan. Her first 3 albums, to me, you could argue were classics. I know that's debatable, and let's not get into it right now. But after, what really started to bother me is that song she did with Drake. And from there, it was just never the same for me. And that was definitely over a decade ago. So, man, we're talking about one of the best of our generation, of this generation of R&B. And like you said, just can't seem to find herself. I think she's stuck in this lane of trying to cater to pop, but also trying to be herself. And it's just like she's trying to adopt a new sound on every album. And it's like watching a train wreck a bit because I don't really like any of it. And I'm like I said, I was a huge fan, so I don't know.
That's what happened. Not too long ago, if you recall, you can check it out on Soul and Stereo. I went through and ranked her whole discography. And when I do those rankings, it's an opportunity for me to basically listen to an artist from the beginning to the end. So I can have like I can totally absorb their entire career. And you can hear around 2009, 2010, where it's like she didn't know what she wanted to do. And her default was like, okay, I'm going to make some pop stuff. And I'm going to sprinkle some old school Alicia around it, but I'm going to do different versions of pop stuff. I don't know if it was the success of the pop records on the As I Am album or what. Because I feel like that's around the time that she was like, okay, I can do this and make it work. But since then, she keeps chasing these sounds, and she'll try to do it a little differently each time. But it just does not work and gets further and further away from who she was.
Yep.
You know what's crazy? Her latest single with Miguel, Show Me Love, which I think hit #1 on Urban AC recently. I don't really see a lot of people talking about that song.
I don't need. Well, I will say it was. I think it was when we dropped our list of the best songs of the decade, something like that. There were a few stands that came out of the woodwork and was like, "Oh, you shortchanged this song. This is going to be a hit," and blah blah blah. It was okay. Like, it was better than some of the other stuff, but quite forgettable. Like, it's already kind of passed us by.
I don't even think it matters. All I think that matters is this is not the same Alicia we grew to love, and it's just not the same. You see her name, but it's just like you're not getting what you wanted based on what you fell in love with. So that's the way I look at her when I hear her. I'm just not excited about hearing her music anymore.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say that as well. Like, if you look at our Facebook page, when we posted Usher's new single, it got like 100 likes on it. Alicia Keys gets like 4 likes on our page now. So I think a lot of people are with you, Tom. They're not excited.
Sad.
So we shall see. The new album Alicia is set to release this spring.
You know what, Kyle? I almost wonder if the same thing has happened to Neo over this past decade in terms of the excitement around his music with R&B fans.
Yeah, I think to a degree, but you still have like a small contingency of fans that check out Neo's music.
Yeah, I will say that Neo's fan base is still somewhat loyal. It's not as gigantic as it was in the end of the 2000s, but there are definitely some loyal folks, especially in the Cypher, that love some Neo. And to his credit, even though I haven't loved a lot of his new music, every once in a while, if he drops an album, he'll have 3 or 4 solid songs on it. He isn't completely gone by the wayside. But he's seen better days, but I wouldn't put him in the Alicia boat just yet.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah. Another song that came out is from the legendary John Legend, Conversations in the Dark. I think this is featured on the NBC show This Is Us. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but it's like the saddest show ever. But
I refuse to watch a show that makes me cry as much as y'all say it does.
But Ed, why does John Legend keep making these wedding songs?
Yeah, this song... And I know that, first of all, I'm talking to Kyle's. I'm talking to John Legend hater number 1. And I've defended him at times over the years. But good Lord, every song, Conversation in the Dark, I just turned this conversation off. It is so sad. And it's supposed to be like an uplifting song. But it's so sad and moany. And he does a whoa thing that he does in every song. When he's trying to convey emotion, it just sounds like a seagull. I ain't feeling this one either.
I just don't like John Legend at all, guys. I'm sorry. Take me back to the mid-2000s.
I think you can say that for a lot of artists. But,
oh, jeez.
I wanna like him, but it just he's another one. It's been like a good decade since he's been able to hit. He knows that he can make a pop hit, so he tries to do the pop stuff, but it's the same boring template. Every one of his songs sounds the same.
You know what's the weird thing about John Legend, though? No matter how snoozy his music gets, he continues to be elevated as a celebrity. I mean, you saw he was named the sexiest man of the year or whatever, and it's almost like he's just a celebrity at this point, and the music is almost secondary. It's kind of weird.
No, but it's 2020. I ought to say 2019. It's 2020. Look at the biggest celebrities or artists in music. Lil Nas X, Cardi B. Like, these people aren't good. People like them because they like them. They like their social media presence.
Yep.
They like what they say. They put out thirst trap pics. They funny. So the music is secondary. We support the music because we think they're funny. That's it. And poor John Legend, even though he had the credentials and the hits before that, he stayed relevant because his wife stays popping off and he stays on social media. So he's remained a celebrity, even though the music ain't been hitting since the Obama years.
Actually, yeah, it's funny that you mentioned it. I was on YouTube yesterday, and one of the suggested videos for me was to watch him and his wife make fried chicken together.
Oh my goodness!
I watched it.
What kind of video?
It looked kind of good, actually.
Of course.
I think he's just mostly loved at this point because he's so against Trump, and people just love him for that now. So, and he has a famous wife. Plus, he knows Kanye. Well, he must be cool for that too.
Oh, please. Well, I love him because he hates Trump. The rest of the stuff he can
keep. Calm down, guys. Let's talk about Luke James, his new single, Blow. This is a lot different than the last couple of records we've heard from him, Tom.
I actually haven't really had a chance to check it out yet. What did you think?
I mean, he showcases his vocals, which is big. We all know Luke can sing, but Ed, I still want a record that was like his first EP. Do you remember when that came out? It was crazy.
Oh, player, that first EP still gets play over in Soul and Stereo Studios. My wife is obsessed, and that thing is probably a decade old. She tears that thing apart. But this song, I know I'm just like tearing everything apart to this episode, but it's well sung, but so forgettable. There's nothing about it that makes me want to remember what I just heard 20 seconds after it ends. I remember it's a song called Blow. I don't even remember what the word blow is in the song. I don't even know the lyric blow being in the song. Because it's just that forgettable. He's a great talent, a great voice, but this stuff that he's singing is just so generic. It's like they peel it off the American Idol list or something. Like, hey, sing this. It sounds great, but it doesn't resonate. And as we heard from the other singles, I worry about this album because I worry about the sound. We heard the upbeat song. We heard the classic sounding song. This is more kind of modern sounding, but still kind of vibey. It seems all over the place. And I worry about the state of the album if there's no consistent single so far.
Tom, what happened with Luke? At one point we were calling him the savior of R&B.
I'm going to say the label forced him to move to a sound he wasn't comfortable with, but maybe that's taking the easy way out. I just don't understand how he keeps getting all these acting gigs. I mean, I know his manager was Beyonce's choreographer or something, which let him open for her on her tour, but like he just seems to be getting a lot of opportunities people, with his credentials don't seem to get. Glad for him. He's a good dude, but it's strange. I mean, but good for him. He's doing well. He's acting and thriving, so I don't really have high expectations for his music at this point, but I really haven't liked much he's done in a long time. I never know what sound to expect. It's kind of all over the place. His single covers have been really strange. He's like strippers and stuff. I don't know what's going on with that, but but anyway, I'm a father now. I'm married. I can't be looking at strippers on album covers here.
All right.
I didn't even think of that. Yeah. Wife, it comes in there, you're sleeping on the couch, and you're just like, I'm just trying to listen to this Luke James.
Dude, the worst thing is I'll be at work, right? And I'll just have Instagram open on my phone. The worst possible thing that could happen is an Ashanti picture comes up on Instagram and someone walks by. I mean, how do you explain that?
Oh, yes.
Oh, player, that's happened to me. I work in the city hall. Can you imagine some dignitary walking through, and then you got some Cardi B looking cover with the legs spread? You get caught up.
It makes you want to follow these people. I mean, why is Ashanti even... I don't get it, guys. I really don't get it.
Well, Kyle gets it. That's all you need to worry about.
It's all about those clicks and views, and she's done her job, so let her be, guys. A couple more records here quickly. New artist, Jayla Darden. She dropped her EP, Onto Something. I really like this, guys. It reminds me of a young Brandy. I know a lot of our readers... Who was it that got us onto it? Slick Partner? Is that his name? Partner Slick?
Yeah,
that's our boy.
Yeah, shout out to Slick Partner.
Yeah, he put us onto that, shout outs to you.
I like her a lot. I have not heard the EP. I've heard a couple of her songs, and I think she's got a lot of talent. She does sound pretty Brandy-ish. That's why I thought that Kyle would be a fan. But a lot of talent there, so I'll go check out the EP and see what's up.
Right. And then another record that came out quickly, Kehlani linked up with Keyshia Cole for a song. And it's interesting. It's like a vibey, trendy type of track, and Kehlani sounds great on it. Keyshia Cole doesn't. I'm wondering if it's because of the trendy production, or if it's because she's not being vocally produced properly.
It may be because of the latter more so than a former, because I've heard her on some more trendy stuff on one of her more recent albums. She sounded okay. I haven't heard this song, so that's a little... I'm surprised that Kehlani sounds as like outperforming Keyshia Cole on a song. So yeah. I'd be interested in hearing that.
The record is called All Me, so check that out. And then a couple more notes here. Olivia, if you guys remember her from her G Unit days, her J Records days, she dropped a new single, and Tom, apparently it's not very good.
Oh my god!
The thing is, she made the song its premiere on her return, I guess, to Love and Hip Hop or whatever, and the sound sounds exactly like you'd expect to hear of something on that show. Super trendy, trappy, whatever the hell you want to call it, but you could tell she catered it to that audience. Unfortunately, it's not for me. I don't know if you heard of that.
No, I have not. Most of my Soul and Stereo readers know that I'm kind of a stan for J Records era Olivia. Not that it's all that great, but she had a couple of really fun records that came out at that time, so I kind of give her a pass. I didn't like her G Unit stuff so much, but I always try to give old Olivia a pass because she had us biz ouncing back in 2001, so that's the homie. I'll check out the new one.
She actually hadn't put out something before this single in a very long time. It was interesting. Pretty long hiatus.
That's a long hiatus.
Yeah. Do you think G-Unit fans still check for Olivia?
Oh, G-Unit fans don't check for 50. Of course not.
No.
All right. Some more news for you guys. Keyshia and JoJo are both set to release new music soon. Keyshia announced that he'll be dropping a debut album. When is it coming out? Did they say, Tom?
No, they didn't say. JoJo has been promoting his single for 6 months now, but still hasn't released it for some reason. It's such a weird situation. I'll tell you what, though. The response from... Actually, KC, I thought he signed a label deal. All he did was sign with management. So it's like, okay, what does that mean? I mean, it's a pretty reputable management. It's P Music Group. They manage Charlie Wilson and Johnny Gill and some others, but still, like, you don't even have a label deal or anything to release an album, so that's not even a final step. But anyway, I thought people would be excited to hear this news of our readers. Man, people are super skeptical that either of them can even sing. I mean, last time we saw JoJo, he was a backup singer for Casey because his voice is so shot. And the last time we seen KC, he was riding around on the security guard's shoulders snatching chicken wings and eating them and singing at the same time. So, I don't know. What do you expect from this, Ed?
I don't expect much. I mean, everybody on this podcast and everyone who will be listening recognizes that these are two industry veterans, definitely deserve to be called legends in their own right. So, no disrespect there. But unfortunately, when it comes to music, a lot of times you're only as good as your last offering. And it's been a long time since we got consistency from these Haley brothers. So I'll check it out, but I am not taking the day off to spend the time to check out these new projects. Because I don't know what we going to get.
Well, guys, I spoke to Fantasia a couple months ago. When was her album? A couple months ago now. And she did mention that Casey is now sober. I think he had like a stroke not too long ago, and he's gotten his life together, and apparently he sounds great. He's eating healthy. He's dropped the alcohol, so who knows? We might see some Casey magic.
Well, I certainly hope so.
That's the thing, though. People don't even realize artists have to take care of their vocal tool with their singing voice. Look at Charlie Wilson, man. I think he's 67. And he sounds better than all these guys that are, half his age. It's crazy, but he takes care of himself. He had his own issues, actually, a couple decades ago, but he made it out and takes care of himself. He's got a new single coming in a few days, by the way. But, people don't realize it's not like you just get up on stage and sing. There's a lot that goes into maintaining your health and your vocals.
Well, that goes back into what I've been fussing about for the past year, artist development. But, Twitter tells me it don't matter. As long as you sing on a record, you don't even have to show up to a show. What do we want from them? Why do we expect the artist to sing at a concert? Oh, we shouldn't have to worry about that. But yeah, this is a job. And like anything, if you want longevity, you got to work at it. There's a reason why Charlie Wilson sounds better than 20-year-olds, because he knows how to take care of his voice. These people smoked it up at 23. Good luck at having a career over 25.
Right. But guys, that seems like way too much work, to be an artist for that long of time. Tom, wouldn't you rather just be Monica's photographer?
Oh, God.
Probably gets paid all the time.
Here's another thing. I don't understand this, Ed. I thought about this the other day. So for those who aren't familiar, go log on to Monica's Instagram account. She literally has a photographer following her around every single day of her life, taking pictures of her, like posing, like model-type pictures, getting all dolled up. I don't understand the point, Ed. What is going on?
I understand the point. The point is to stay relevant. Because, as we talked about, not even 10 minutes ago, if a singer wants to be relevant, you don't make songs. That's silly. You don't drop hit records. That's preposterous. What you do is you keep IG popping. That's how you become a big star. And unfortunately, despite having some of the best records of the 90s, incredible records in the 2000s, and some underrated stuff in the 2010s, she's got to feel like she's got to be stunting on IG to stay relevant. It's sad. It's sad that we have to do this because we shouldn't have to. Also, I wish I was her photographer. That's probably a pretty easy gig. Or maybe it's annoying. I don't know.
I will say, though, at least when you compare her to her and Ashanti, who are pretty much doing the same thing, except for Ashanti seems to always be on a beach or a yacht somewhere in a bathing suit and with not safe for work pictures. At least Monica is taking classy photos, and especially looping her family into them. I can respect that portion of it.
Oh yeah, no question. At least she's looking like a mom and an adult and a mature person, not a cartoon character. But it's still weird. All I want from these artists, I know I'm weird, but all I want from my artists is good music. I don't care what your politics are. I don't care about what TV show you're watching. I don't really want to see your butt hanging out. I just want good music. So, that's all I want. I know I'm in the minority these days, but
yeah, Ed, speak for yourself. I want to see butt cheeks hanging, please.
Oh, we know what you want to see, Kyle. All kind of cheeks clapping.
I hope his girlfriend doesn't tune into this show.
No, she doesn't. All right, I got a question for you guys here. So Monica dropped her single Commitment January 11th of 2019. So a year ago today, she dropped her lead single off her album, or upcoming album, Chapter 38. So a couple things here. The single came out a year ago. Chapter 38 representing her age at the time. She's 39 now. Where the hell is the album?
First of all, I need that title to be edited quickly. I don't know where the album is, and it's not first of all, I don't know what's going on in her life. I didn't know if something was holding up. But as far as the musical landscape, it was certainly there was no opportunity for her to be well, I can't drop it. There's too much heat dropping. I'll get lost in the shuffle. The field is wide open for that Chapter 38 or 9, so she need to go on and let that thing free.
I mean, I was disappointed at she promised us the album. Carey Hilson, same thing, promised us new music. Those were two of the bigger disappointments from last year. But, I almost wonder if she even needs to drop an album at this stage of her career. Her single did really well. She's obviously remaining relevant. She can still do a ton of shows. She probably doesn't feel any pressure to release an album. She's a mother raising children. She probably doesn't have, it's not a priority, from the way I can see it.
Yeah.
You're probably right.
Yeah. On to some other news here. K. Michele and Tank both made some interesting tweets.
Oh my God.
Over the weekend. And by the way, I'm going to be interviewing K. Michele next week. So this was in a very timely matter when she tweeted this out. Very time sensitive. But K. Michele tweeted, "Up early listening to new R&B artists. And this is the best way to fall asleep. This shit has no soul and it's boring. It plays like one big lullaby. I'm so confused by it." First and foremost, Tom, isn't this what you say every week?
It's frustrating. If you didn't grow up on if you grew up on 90s R&B and you hear this, you're not going to really be interested. But not only that, it's not meant for us though. This newer music is meant for a younger demographic who kind of is into hip hop and doesn't expect a booming vocal performance. So, I mean, yeah, I wasn't mad at her saying that.
All right. Well, Ed, your boy Tank, who we talk about every week on this SoulBack podcast, said, I would like to apologize.
Stupid every week.
I would like to apologize to all the young R&B artists who are just trying to figure it out in your generation. I see too much hate from old people about how you artistically articulate your R&B experience. Create it the way you feel. So, what do you think Tank meant when he said this to the young fans? Tank, Bryson Tiller, Babs.
First of all, Mr. Darrell Babs, let a former fan holler at you right quick, because I am quite heated with this. First of all, won't nobody talking to you, and for Tank to come jumping into conversation talking about old people, like he ain't pushing 45, like K. Michele isn't 10 years younger than him, just because he has one little hot trap record. Now all of a sudden he's Bryson Tiller. All that was a chance to pander to his so-called young fan base. And for his young fan base, they sure weren't there for that last album or anything else past When We. So where all these young people at that apparently you're speaking for, Tank? They ain't checking for you. Because I saw that Elevation album ain't popping.
I actually found Tank's comments to be a little hypocritical, especially about doing what you feel, because Tank was the one who gave up on doing what he felt because no one was buying it. So he's really not doing what he's feeling, he's doing what sells. Let's be real here. He
had a whole album called This Is How I Feel. And now it feels like he's trash. Now I'm going to bring it back because I'm heated. I'm heated because, first of all, no one was in this conversation. Secondly, I'm tired of what not only Tank is doing, but what fans are doing is not listening. You're not listening to what K. Michele is saying. I have talked about it on this podcast a million times. What she is not saying, it's not old versus young. We keep trying to make this old versus young. That's not what this is about. K. Michele is saying that everything that she's hearing in popular sounds is boring because there is absolutely no inflection in this new music. There is one note that they ride, barely, note in quote marks, because that's barely notes. Listen to I'll put it like this. Let me put it like this. There was an article I read over the break that was talking about these new generation of R&B artists. And it was saying that this generation is the introverts. This is why they sound like this, because they're introverts. The devil is a lie. You know who one of the biggest introverts in R&B was? Aaliyah. Did Aaliyah's song sound like the same song every time? Absolutely not. Because even though she had a low register, we're not talking about screaming all over the track like Kelly Price. We talking about having ups and downs, rises and falls, inflections, storytelling, emotion. That is what's missing from your music. That has nothing to do with age. That is because you don't know what you're doing. And Tank knows this. Tank just sucking up to the kids, so hopefully they'll buy his next trap record, which they ain't gonna do because you old, like the old people that you coming for. They're not coming for you either. So what K. Michele is saying is that she wants music that has inflections, passion, emotion, that makes you feel it. She's not feeling this music because there's nothing for her to feel. Not because they're young or because they're not from the 90s or whatever foolishness that we're talking about. At the end of the day, she just wants some artistry. And that's not what she's getting from younger artists. And that has nothing to do with age. And it has nothing to do with not having powerhouse vocals.
Good point, Ed. Now, our good friends at Rated R&B, shout outs to them. I'm glad I can read your tweets again. You guys, they posted a list of the top albums of 2019, and actually I was just scrolling through my timeline, and Tank commented on that list and wrote, "I'm not on this list, but the goal wasn't to make any lists. It was all about the streams." So at least he's honest.
Well, he wasn't on my list either, so I'm glad he's happy being left off of everyone's list.
Man, shout outs to Tank. Guys, can we get into the SoulBack album of the day?
Album of the day. Wow. What do you got?
Well, Tom, you've been making some pretty cool posts on social media asking people what their favorite non-single is. And I want to do one right now.
What do you got?
Let's go with here the 112 debut album. What is your favorite non-single on this album? And then to make it interesting, what song would you kick off the album?
I got to pull up the track list real quick.
Yeah, somebody tell me the track list because
all right,
it's pretty hard to knock something off of that one.
We won't even say best non-single. Let's just say best song and a song you would kick out.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go through this. We have Now That We're Done, Pleasure and Pain, Cupid, Call My Name, Come See Me, Can I Touch You, I Can't Believe, Keep It Real, Only You Bad Boy Remix, I Will Be There, In Love With You, Just a Little While, Why Does, This Is Your Day, Throw It All Away, and Only You original version.
Good Lord, what a complete album. Man.
I haven't heard this album in a long time, to be honest, because I don't listen to slow music as much anymore.
I'm trying to think what I feel like I would either dump Keep It Real. Probably Keep It Real. I'd probably listen to that the least. I'd probably dump that. For singles, kind of surprised Just a Little While wasn't a single. But you could pick a bunch of them.
Yeah.
I actually like
Tom.
It's tough to pick the best non-single.
Yeah,
I really like that I Will Be There.
Same.
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Or Just a Little While. Just a Little While. Those two, between them two. Throw One Away.
Yeah.
Probably the second track, Now That We're Done.
Yes, Now That
Really?
Oh, that's a banger. That's a banger.
I'm sorry to our boy. No, I said I'm throwing it out.
You're throwing it out? What's wrong with you?
Yeah. Sorry to our boy, Tim, Kelly. You'd had some great songs on this album, but that was one of my lesser favorites.
Wow. I might actually, and this is a Tim and Bob song as well, Can I Touch You? I think that one has to go.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely not.
I can see that.
What is wrong with you two?
Damn.
There's so many y'all love Keep It Real that much? I can't even remember what that song is. Like, that's the only song of the songs you named that I could not automatically just, like, hum it in my head.
Good point.
I don't know. I just remember listening to Can I Touch You, and doesn't Slim start off the song by saying Can I Touch You? And it's in a weird, creepy way. Can I touch you?
Yeah, it is kind of... Yeah, it is a little, can I touch you? Kind of molestery. But leave the memories alone. That's my song.
All right. Oh, man. All right, guys, can we get into the Playa Pleases really quickly?
I thought we just did it with K. Michele, but okay.
No. We got one, and Tom's going to be fired up about this one. Did you guys see Obama's playlist?
Oh, my God. Yes, I saw that.
God.
Do we need to go through the list?
Obama. I feel like Obama pocketed probably like a cool 500,000 to $1 million from the labels for this list. I mean, there's no way he even knows most of these songs or listens to them. I'm sorry.
Let me tell you I will just say this. That was his intern's playlist. That was not his playlist. That playlist, it's just too all over the place. I know how these things work, and I know that a lot of times they're curated. I mean, I work for as everybody knows, I work for the mayor of Birmingham. He comes out with these playlists all the time. And when he does, he's a very big music fan. So he'll be like, okay, we'll do a playlist. He'll give me a bunch of songs. And you can tell they're songs he likes because they're consistent. These songs are like all over the place. So it's clearly a curated thing where like 10 people all submitted their favorite songs. And then they say, oh, we got to get in this one. The Baby's hot. We got to put him in. This one's hot. We got to put that in. Oh, Snow Allegra's hot. We got to put her in. and then it's just like this big, massive mess that it's not necessarily bad songs, but nobody listens to something that off the wall. Guarantee you, Obama hasn't heard half of those people.
Can you imagine Obama just being miserable and crying listening to Summer Walker?
I'd be crying if I was listening to Summer Walker, so I can't blame him.
Calm down. And your girl Lizzo made the list. Can we rant about Lizzo again?
Well, Lizzo was on the last list that he did too, because I remember this list had like a bunch of asterisks beside it, and I was like, what does this mean? And it was like, also appeared on a previous list. Like, what? Why are you making a playlist with the same songs on it? Again, proof that I don't think dude was actually making this thing. It seemed like something to please everybody.
Shout out to Obama. Hopefully next year Ashanti makes a list. I got money for you. I got the payola.
Oh my God. The last thing I need is rock with you on an Obama playlist.
Oh, yes. Speaking of payola, guys, Justin Bieber, he dropped a new song, which apparently is considered R&B to some people. I'm not quite sure why. But some interesting things going on here. He recently posted on his Instagram instructions for ways for his fans to stream his music, similar to what Chris Brown did with his Heartbreak on a Full Moon album. But he took it one step further. He told his fans to download a VPN if they're not from the States, connect to the VPN and pretend they were part of the States, so it would count towards the U.S. streams. That's extreme.
What a piece of garbage. He also had a thing that was like, okay, guys, just that. And I like how he said, don't put it on mute. But he was like, build a playlist, put my song on it, play it while you're asleep. Don't put it on mute, because that won't count towards it. I guess if you mute a song and have it play, I guess they're smart enough to know not to count that as a listen. But put it on mute, put it all the way as low as it can go before it gets to mute, play it on a loop. Like, what? Like, this is what we have to do? And then, of course, his lemmings of fans will do it because the almighty Bieber told us to. Like, why can't we celebrate songs? Why can't a song go to number one that people actually like and is good? Not something that we got to weird the system with all these tricks and smoke and mirrors. And by the way, the song is not good. Before I heard the song, everybody was talking about this song and, oh, it's the return of R&Bieber and it's so great. And I listened to it and it sounded like every other trap song that ever trapped in existence. It's just him doing the fake rap stuff. Why are we hyped about this? Why are we making people listen to it in their sleep like some hypnosis type stuff? Man, I hate everybody.
It's just so annoying. I can't even comment. I'd rather
Well,
listen
Tom,
to Khalid at this point.
Tom, what's interesting is, like, I've been on Twitter and Instagram, and I'll see, like, random celebrities or influencers, and they'll just tweet or post something along the lines of, go stream Justin Bieber's new single, Yummy Now. Man, Justin Bieber's team is paying everyone. We should get in on this.
I mean, he probably makes a lot of money and also spends a lot of money. That's how it goes to stay at the top. Unfortunately, Katy Perry's team is not spending that money, it seems.
Oh.
Nope. Katy Perry. We read a tweet recently that Katy Perry's team got a bunch of people aged like 21 to 26 together to do a focus study just to find out why they think she's not at the top. You know, if someone paid us to do that for Usher, it would be the easiest like $1 million we'd ever make.
Playa, why don't they ever call me for this? I'm available. Katie, you should have called me because you didn't need a focus group. All you need is one player to keep it real, because clearly you don't have that on your team. And I would have told you, boo, that you ain't got them because you're old. Like, that's it. Like, I don't know why these stars think that they can get in their mid-30s and they're still going to have the same fan base. Your fans have aged out. So either you need to change up your style so you can talk to these new fans, or stop chasing. You're talking to a whole different audience now. Like, that's dumb. Come on now. Change up your stuff. Talk to a new audience. This audience is, look at a Mariah, who's, my wife was the original Mariah fan. A lot of Mariah fans in 2020 kind of came on in the Emancipation era. No, my wife was a fan from when she debuted in 1991 on MTV. And she has stayed a fan because Mariah's sound has evolved for the past 30 years. Her original song doesn't sound like what she put out on Caution because she has evolved. She realized that her audience has grown and she's picked up new fans along the way. She didn't just in 1997 say, why aren't my fans like they were in 1991? What am I doing wrong? Give me a focus group. No, she evolved because she knew that her fan base was growing up and doing something stupid. When your fan base is now 10 years older, you need to give them some songs that's 10 years older, not something that's 10 years younger. Don't nobody want to hear that. I don't understand. This is not hard. It ain't that deep. Why is everyone crazy?
Right. And then the last Playa Please. I don't even know if this is a Playa Please. It comes from Irv Gotti, so I guess that is an automatic Playa Please.
Oh, then it's a Playa Please.
Well, I was watching an interview recently, and someone on the Murdering producing team said that Michael Jackson actually wanted the production or the beat for Ashanti, her record Turn It Up, off her Concrete Rose album. Do you guys remember that song with Ja?
Yep.
I remember it, unfortunately.
It was like a disco-sounding song. But Michael wanted that beat, and he was willing to pay $1 million for it. But in return, he gets the beat, and he gets all the publishing and all the credits for that. Irv Gotti said no, and here we are today. The song is not a single, it's an album track. Does he get a Playa Please? Was that a wise business decision? Because we do know royalties and publishing, that's where the money's at. But it wasn't a single, so I don't know what the big fuss is. Just take the $1 million.
No, because Irv Gotti always has to be the smartest person in the room and proves to be the biggest dummy. Like, this is historical facts behind this. He probably just did not want to let go of control or something. That's all it was. He's like, no, that's mine. I want control over it. If he gets it, he's going to get the publishing and the rights. He probably never had any desire to make that a single anyway. So it was just his ego throwing money in the trash. Same old Irv.
The type of person Irv Gotti strikes me as, once he's like such an egomaniac, he finds out like, oh, you want this beat? Then it must be the best thing ever produced. I got to keep this now. So no matter how much money you would have offered him, he would have kept it after hearing Michael Jackson wanted it. Like, he's just, people like that, are funny to me, man.
Well, shout out to Irv. We'll get him on the podcast soon. I love that guy.
Wow.
All right, guys.
Never will understand.
That seems to be it for this week's music. Ed, what's going on with SoulInStereo.com? Aren't you like broadcasting live on Facebook Live in like 10 minutes?
Yes. Well, it won't be 10 minutes when people listen to this. But yes, what we'll be starting for 2020 is this new deal. It's called Party of Two. It's me and my lovely wife. And if you're interested, go to the Party of Two with Edward and Gervasia Facebook page. Like it. And if you like Soul and Stereo's love letters, essentially this is going to be kind of that. It's going to be my wife and I telling our story and then talking about relationships and really just living a relationship on your own terms. I've learned I'm old. Almost 14 years that I've been married, that so many people have perceptions of what a relationship should be or what a marriage should be because it's what somebody told them. It's like, these are the rules. And as y'all know, your boy follows his own rules. And that's kind of what this is about. Just talking about how we got to where we were and how we didn't follow the rules that people put in front of us. So it's going to be fun. And if you like love letters and like hearing me yell and scream, then this is the show for you. Plus, you can watch my wife put me in my place when I yell and scream. So I'm sure that'll be fun.
Hold on.
Over on Soul and Stereo.
Hold on before you get into your plug about Soul and Stereo. Tom, sell me on why we need to watch this. Didn't Ashanti break it down for us already? It's about us. It's about trust. She said that on the Fat Joe.
Oh my God. First of all, you're getting advice from Fat Joe and Ashanti. This is where we are in 2020. Actually, 2003 or whenever that mess was. So, please check out Soul and Stereo if I put hands on this child. Because we got... Oh, yeah, I forgot to talk about this. We ranked Tyrese's albums. Just your boy, Kyle. We went through a few days ago and ranked his entire discography. So, check that out. I've got a new post coming up where we're going to be taking a look at the historic career of Tribe Called Quest. Got a few album reviews also on the way. So, kicking it off right in 2020.
The funny thing about Ed's wife is she's currently giving him the signal to wrap this thing up. She's ready to get started with the show.
I think you can actually... I think you've got some cameras in my office, Tom. Yes.
Tom, don't worry. We'll start our own party of two. We'll have salsa and tortilla chips for everyone.
Oh man, I love chips and salsa. I'm in there.
Well, stop talking about it. I can't eat it till February.
Oh, that's rough. But on I Got Soul, like Tom mentioned earlier, I interviewed Magoo. I found him. Took about 6 months to get it done, but we finally interviewed Magoo. Got some hate on it, but it is what it is. But a great interview with him.
Man, forget now.
And then, funny enough, Ed, you've told us about the Taco Bell story with Magoo. He actually confirmed it without me even asking. And so you weren't lying about your friend meeting Magoo in a drive-thru. But Tom, I know on I Got So you've
never lie.
Go ahead. But Tom, on I Got So, I know you've put together a bunch of lists, and you've been quite active.
We're having some fun picking our favorite non-single from some of the bigger albums over the past couple decades. People have had some interesting answers. We might take our boy, I think it was Montrez Jones, who said he wants us to pick our least favorite song for every album. We did that on the 112 album this show, but we'll see. We'll get there eventually. We still got some albums to get through, but it's been fun, been pretty interesting to hear people's opinions.
Interesting it might not be the right word. Some people have some crazy opinions. Didn't you see that one guy? Ed, did you see this? Someone said that Faith Evans has no classics, but Brandy has 6.
Yes, I saw this foolishness. There was a list circulating that tagged you guys in it. And it was Faith has 0, Tamia has 0, but then Brandy had 5, Monica had 3. I was like, what? It proves that the word classic has now become album that I like. If I like an album, it's a classic.
Yeah.
If I like a bag of Skittles that I ate a few minutes ago, it's a classic. That's not what classic means, y'all. Clearly, this brother don't get that. Just like with I love the single thing that y'all are doing. But also proves that people don't know what singles are. Because they'll be
yes.
What's your favorite non-single? The Only You remix. What? That was a single, homie.
All right, guys.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I've been trying to name them so people could understand. They feel like, if I didn't hear it on the radio, it must have not been a single. It's crazy.
Mm-hmm. But guys, that's it for this week. Let's wrap this up. And we'll be back next week with another episode. Week with another episode. Week with another episode. Week with another episode. Week with another episode.